Nikola Jokic had 28 points, 19 rebounds, and 9 assists, and the Nuggets were up 33. The end. Okay, well, almost. This is Locked On Nuggets. Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Network. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and we're available on all platforms. My name is Matt Moore. I am recently boosted with Moderna Dose 3. Yeah, let's go. You can find me on Twitter at HP Basketball. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network and the Nuggets insider for 104.3 The Fan in Denver. He is Adam Mares, director of content for DNVR. You can find him on Twitter at Adam_Mares, and he's stretching a lot right now.
You know, I'm like, because this stuff happens, man. I tell you, I don't want to complain about being the old man or this or that, but like, I just hurt my shoulder by doing nothing. Just sitting here, I heard it somehow. Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I've had that where it's like I did nothing for so long, and then I was like, this suddenly hurts because I did nothing, and then. Yeah, not good. Anyway, he's fallen apart, much like the Nuggets almost did versus the Wizards.
Well done.
I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by TrueBill. TrueBill is a new app that saves you money by helping you identify and stop paying for the subscriptions that you don't want or need, and can even negotiate better deals on those you want to keep. Coming to you after the Nuggets get their second win in a row, a home win.
We're streaking, baby.
Everything should feel good here, right? Jokic got almost a triple-double. Everything should, and things do largely feel great.
I was going to say, I want to nip that part in the bud.
Yeah,
you're more objective. You're more objective, but I want to ask this: do the Nuggets have momentum following that game?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
Should we get in for the people that don't know what we're talking about here? The Nuggets, the shorthand version. We'll get into all the details, but the shorthand version is the Nuggets were up 33 points. They kind of started messing around. It was an absolutely dominant, and I mean dominant performance from the Nuggets, namely Nikola Jokic, but really everybody was in on the act. They start messing around a little bit. Washington makes a little bit of a mini run. Denver kind of puts them away. Then Jokic gets ejected by Tony Brothers in a something we'll talk about, but it killed the buzz. Then the Nuggets only win by 6. They barely hold on down the stretch. It reminded me, Harrison Wind actually brought this up. It reminded me of the Miami Heat game, where that one was a 10 out of 10 win. Everybody looked good, and it ended with Jokic getting ejected for hitting Markieff Morris, and you're like, oh, God, that's not the story.
Yep, exactly. I'm looking to see what the score was when Jokic came back in. That's like my question here. The Nuggets were basically even in the first 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. When Jokic comes back in at 8:24, they were outscored by 5 to start the quarter. So they were -7 to end the third. Jokic was still
and that was Jokic. That wasn't the bench. Mm-hmm. That was Jokic was on the court. Maybe we should just go through this game because really it's important to kind of explain. The reason they lost control there is because Denver was rolling so much, and they were rolling off of highlight passes. It was just everything felt good. And I think it felt a little too good because then it was like crazy passes started turning into like even crazier passes.
Yeah, they started screwing around. The Wizards kept playing with intensity. Bertans was really big.
He was on fire. Yeah, he was.
He played well to help get them like back in this. I want to be very clear on this, like. Because Brendan over at DMVR had this tweet a minute ago that I think is really pretty salient. He's like, I am not at all surprised the Nuggets were in trouble without checks notes, Jamal Murray, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Nikola Jokic, and PJ Dozier in the final minutes of a game.
Right.
Like that when you say it like that, you're like, oh, they really were without their 6 of their top 7 players.
Right.
So it's like not surprising. It's just the degree. And to me, like the reason that this kind of sticks with me is just Jokic again. We've talked about this before. Well, I want to ask you this about the ejection right up front. Do you think it was just the officiating? Or do you think it was a combination of the officiating and the fact that it was like he comes back in and he's like, again? We can't
No. I honestly don't. I think it was
Okay.
the officiating because he took a tough shot. Like, I don't know if there should have been a foul or not. Spencer Dinwiddie basically tried to jump into him to like draw some contact. And when you watch it in slow motion, Yokes takes a pretty nasty hit. Whether or not it's a foul or no call or what, at that point of the game, I don't know. But Jokic certainly was like, yo, you're leaving me out to dry here. Then on the other end, I think Spencer Dinwiddie, knowing Jokic is frustrated, gets physical with him on a screen. And Jokic is like, guys, what the heck is going? So I think it was honestly all contained within that little sequence of like, this guy is clearly trying to get under my skin. You don't have my back here. And he freaked out about it. And I think he tried to get one tech. I don't think he tried to get two. I think he tried to get one.
Tony Brothers strikes again. So Jokic gets ejected. The Wizards go on a run. They almost pull off a miracle comeback, but they can't do it. The lead was just too big. The Nuggets hold on and get the win by 6. The big story from this is just like the Nuggets. Here's one of the issues I have.
I'm curious what your big story is. Actually, this is a telling thing. We might disagree about what the big takeaway is. Maybe there's multiple.
My big takeaway on this is that I want to credit all of the, like, I don't want it to just be like a one-man show. I want to talk about like how good other guys contribute.
Yeah.
But literally no Will Barton, no MPJ, no Jamal Murray, and the Nuggets do this because Nikola Jokic is one of the best players, if not the best player in basketball.
Yeah.
Like, it was a demolition.
Can I move the goalposts?
Do it.
I've been saying this obviously for a long time, but I think it's really like the way he's playing this year. This is an all-time season. I know it's only 27 games or whatever right now. He's having an all-time season.
Yeah. I can't argue. I can't.
I don't want to get into the like Kareem, Michael Jordan, this or that, but let's just say like Kevin Garnett. You've got Dirk Nowitzki. You know, these great players that were like surefire top 20 all-time players. Jokic's season so far, it belongs with their best seasons with what he's doing right now. And it's not just the statistics. The way he dominated this game while being in second gear, his skill level is just on, and his command of the game is on a whole other level right now. I mean, this was dominant for 3 quarters.
They couldn't do anything with him. They couldn't do any, like, the Wizards were just helpless, like the Spurs were the other night. Like, teams are just helpless against him.
And he was in the helpless, not just in a like Shaq dunking on you kind of way, but in this like, it's almost more Curry-esque, you know, like the Warriors in their heyday, and maybe now again, when they get rolling, they're just kind of dancing and having fun. You're just kind of like, we can't stop these guys. They're like humiliating us. Jokic I don't think was trying to humiliate anyone, but he was humiliating all of them. Like it was so funny how little it looked like he was trying to get every shot that he wanted, every pass that he wanted, just every possession went exactly the way he wanted it to for 3 quarters.
That's the thing, is as great as his numbers are, I honestly do feel like if you watch him up close and you watch him night after night, he's better than that.
Right. Yeah. Tonight he was for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers are impressive. 28, 19 rebounds really is impressive, but 28, 19, and 9. And honestly, it was a more dominant performance than it sounds like, just in such control. It was obscene. Let me say this though, because you mentioned about not having those other guys. Steph Curry, while I think he is one of the greatest players of this generation, and I have him higher on the like pantheon or my own personal rankings if I were to ever do one. I value him more, but I also understand that he is on he's in a sort of perfect situation. He's getting a lot of guys that are designed to make him his best version. I kind of feel like the Nuggets are that right now in the short term. This team, Aaron Gordon, a phenomenal fit with him, who's like really starting to read him. Monte Morris, Jeff Green, even Davon Reed. These are all guys that understand and accept that Jokic is option 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and that they are just there to play off of him. And that is different. Even though Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray are better and make the team better, this makes Jokic look better just because they're so reliant on him and are so agreeable to being reliant on him.
So, look, one thing that gets lost is how slow the Nuggets play. Okay. They play really slow.
Yeah. I think they're slowest.
They are the slowest team in the league. They control the pace, and it's really effective for them. The reason I bring this up is that that's going to alter how many points per game you produce. If you have fewer
Right.
possessions, you're going to generate fewer points.
Right.
And I know we just got done talking about how Jokic is better than the stats. I just looked this up and I have to share it. Okay.
Okay.
Jokic is per 100 possessions. So if you just played Nikola Jokic, if you played 48 minutes in a normal pace game,
Yeah.
and he kept up his production,
Wilt Chamberlain style. Yeah.
40 points per 100 possessions, 20 rebounds per 100 possessions, something like 10.99 assists per 100 possessions.
It's insane.
They have those stats available since 1974. No one's ever done it.
So he's put, well, that's for all of the qualifiers, I'm guessing. Because I'm wondering what like Wilt's per 100 possession scoring was. Because he scored
That's
50.
the problem, is it's since 1974.
Oh, I was going to say, because
Right.
he scored 50, but
Yeah.
they played like 150 possessions back then.
Right.
So
that's the thing. But like, no one's done this. Like,
Yeah.
just no one has, and it's not going to show up because they play slow for a non-marquee team,
Right.
that isn't on national TV every week. They do have a lot of national TV appearances this season. Phenomenal game from Joker.
Well-
You mentioned Gordon. I thought he was really good tonight, and especially like he was good in that first bench stint alongside Zeke Naji too.
Yeah. I think we should spend a lot of time on the others because there was a handful of guys that I think are pretty interesting. But just to kind of close it on Yoke, this season, he's a top 5 scorer. He's scoring more points per game than LeBron James. He's almost there with Steph Curry. He's 0.5 points behind Steph Curry right now in just points per game, not an advanced stat, just points per game. And he's playing fewer minutes. He's second in the NBA in rebounding on the heels of Rudy Gobert. And now after tonight, he's 11th in assists per game. Like to almost be top 10 again in those 3 stats in per game, while only, by the way, he's only playing 32 and a half minutes, which is kind of crazy. It's just insane what he's doing right now. It's absolutely insane how good he is.
It's ridiculous.
I can't believe it. Some like nights like tonight, I just can't. I don't even know where to put this game when you talk about all-time Jokic games, because there were moments in this where it was like, this is the most casually he's ever dominated this much.
I still feel like we got to go back. Like we're gonna have to do this. We need to do it in season because we never think about it in the off season. It's outside out of mind.
Yeah,
we do need to go back and do like a. We should also do it on YouTube and do like a whole, like the best games of Nikola Jokic. Insane. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about the other guys that contributed. I have some thoughts on the bench, as you would imagine. We'll talk about that and more when we come back on Locked On Nuggets. But first, I do want to tell you about TrueBill. You know why free trials renew without your consent? It's a business scam to get money out of you. Don't let greedy corporations pocket your money. Download TrueBill to take control of your subscriptions. TrueBill is the new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions that you don't need, want, or you simply forgot about. On average, people save up to $720 a year with TrueBill. Because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, TrueBill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts and TrueBill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap. And your TrueBill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions so you don't have to. TrueBill has over 2 million users and helps save them over $100 million. Don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. Go right now, TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. It could save you thousands a year. TrueBill.com/LockedOnNBA. We're also brought to you by Stance. I am wearing a pair of Alonzo Mourning socks, which I love. They're very near and dear to my heart. He's my favorite player of all time. Defensive post player. I got them from Stance. They're super comfy. They're awesome. They have lots of great stuff. They've got a new line of active apparel. They've got great holiday gifts that you can throw in. And they've not just socks, but they've got socks, shirts, joggers, and hoodies. They've got so much stuff, and it's all super comfortable. Founded in 2009, Stance Apparel represents a radical reinvention of socks, underwear, and active apparel. With a sharp focus on comfort, quality, and creativity, Stance brings an atypical aesthetic alongside some of pop culture's hottest collaborators for the ultimate in style and self-expression, because everything you wear should be a direct extension of who you are and how you feel. They've got collaborations with the Wu-Tang Clan, Batman, the Goonies, Star Wars. That's like a space show, Adam. Star Wars. The Office, Harry Potter, Disney, Marvel, Bob Marley, Major League Baseball, the NBA, and Pixar. Stance believes that the perfect fit matters more than fitting in. Those who feel good do good. So see for yourself. Register for an account at stance.com and get 15% off your first purchase. Use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout to apply. Enjoy the color and comfort of a life less ordinary with Stance. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets, thanks for making this part of your day. Thanks for making this your first listen each and every day. We are free, and we're available on all platforms. Matt Moore back here with Adam Mares, breaking down the Nuggets' 113-107 victory over the Washington Wizards as the Nuggets get back into the black in the standings. They are over 500 again. That's exciting, right? That's a good thing.
That is exciting.
They move up to 8th in the Western Conference after the Mavericks got a big win versus Charlotte that I definitely bet on the Charlotte Hornets in. All right, so in this game, how about we do this? You talk about the bench in the first half, and I'll talk about the bench in the second half.
Sounds right. Fits our personalities.
Because like you'll be able to talk about how good they were and how amazing they were and all the stuff that they did right, and then I'll be able to talk about how god awful they were in the second half, and we can stay on brand.
I honestly think the second half they were good too until they just started screwing around. Like there was runs in the second half where the second unit was actually playing really well, but this game got away from Denver in that even Jokic, they're up 30. Jokic was 2 or 3 assists away from a triple-double, and I just thought he was looking for assists. Like he was out there.
Yeah, he was. Yep.
And anytime you disrupt like trying to score or win to go for like the highlight or this or that, you just kind of lose a little bit of control and rhythm. You know, rhythm is so in basketball, especially like rhythm can get disrupted and then it's really hard. You have to start all over and to like build it again. And Denver just didn't do that. But in the first half, you know, I thought Facu was fantastic. He was in his bag tonight. He was throwing crazy highlight passes. We haven't seen a ton of highlight passes from Facu in his season and a quarter with Denver, but we have over the last like 4 or 5 games. He's starting to, you know, be a little bit crazier with some of his passes there.
The transition tip pass to Aaron Gordon was my actual favorite, where he ran ahead of the defender. They were both reaching for it. He not only taps it away from the defender, but he taps it right to Aaron Gordon, who scores on the windmill dunk.
And then he was doing all the defensive stuff too, you know, where he's just disrupting things and getting steals and just being a pest. Very effective. I thought Bones in this game was all right. I mean, he was kind of bad in his second stint, but in his first one, I thought he was okay. Was in the right spots. Marcus Howard hit a couple shots. Vlatko got some minutes. They honestly just weren't terrible. They were good in that first stint. They kept the ball moving, and in the blended lineups, I thought they were good. The straight bench lineups, I don't really remember. I'll have to go back and watch.
So one thing I think that is kind of interesting is, Zeke and Gordon only played a sliver together in the second half. It was mostly separated. No, they played a good amount in that fourth quarter. They were on the court for that run. I thought, because Gordon played the entire fourth quarter.
He played too many minutes. I mean, because he had to.
Yeah, because he had to. I will say that, like, in the first half, I thought the Gordon Zeke combo was really good with the bench because it gave them 2 really athletic rim runners that can also spread the floor. So, like, I actually kind of like that combo and think that that's something they might want to look at a little bit more. Campazzo had the behind the back pass to Jokic.
Yeah, it's a great pass.
That one was great.
And that one was another tip one where Jokic kind of threw a bad pass to him. He tips it around the defender, then catches it, then goes behind the back to Jokic. It was a good play.
I will say I thought the second, like, you're right that Jokic was gearing for the assists here. Like, I will say I kind of disagree with you on the ejection, and the reason is because, like, the only reason I would remember this is Blackburn and I were sitting next to each other, and we were actually watching it. The first couple possessions when he came in before he got ejected, he was making these passes where he's whipping it, but it wasn't like, let's get everybody involved. There was a little bit of like, all right, let's get an open 3 and let's settle this down so I can go sit down. Because that's what it felt like to me at the end when he was gunning for the assist was, let me get this 10th assist. I can get the triple double and then go sit.
Here's the problem with that. I kind of blame Jokic for this though, because we do this, Matt, right? When we do this, when the first unit gets off and they're up 7 and Jokic goes to the bench, and when he checks back in and they're down 2, and then they don't get a rhythm again, the starters come back in and can't get a rhythm. We always say like the bench killed the momentum and they killed this or that. I thought Jokic did that. Like he handed a 33-point win, what should have been a 33-point lead to the going into the fourth quarter. He kind of handed them a like 20-point lead where it was like, hey, we kind of just blew 13 points because I was out here throwing some silly stuff. And even though, yes, it's 20 points, like that's a lot of points, it just was the rhythm had gotten killed. And so then he hands the bench that the bench is already bad. So they don't save him. They don't, level things out. And then he has to come back in. But this one, he gets a little bit of the blame for that, in my opinion.
I agree. I will say Facu Campazzo was amazing in that first half with the passes and all the defense. He winds up 2 of 9 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. And Adam, he was a +5 or +10 at the half and wound up -15. He was a -25 in the second half. And there were possessions where, and like this was, again, I'm trying to deflect, so I'm not the guy. My colleague Ryan Blackburn, who I love, was like, he and I were both freaking out because Facu literally dribbled out of possession doing ISO.
Yeah, he did.
And we're like, what are now some
Well,
of this
I think Facu and Jokic are the ones that you kind of blame for that third quarter collapse with the starters. And again, they were feeling it so much that they started throwing Hail Marys on every play. Like it was like they honestly were going Globetrotters on him. They were just doing crazy stuff, and a run happens here and there, and it started to snowball.
Got sloppy, got undisciplined.
Denver still. Well, here's the thing: Denver still wins this game by 20
win.
if Jokic if he's not ejected.
He's not ejected. Yeah, I agree. And he shouldn't have been ejected. And well,
I don't even know. Honestly, I don't.
No, I'll take that back. I'll say that he had to be ejected because he was so far out the floor. Like anytime that you have to. Here's the thing: anytime that you have to be held back by your teammates, you're gone.
No,
because they're going to view it as intimidation. And like,
I don't. I felt kind of quick to me. The second one felt kind of quick. I mean, he clearly.
This is the thing. I don't have I didn't rewatch, right? So I don't know if it was he gets a quick second tee.
Somebody put on Twitter that this is the 5th time Tony Brothers has ejected Jokic. I don't know. I'll have to go and find out how to look these stats up, but it's pretty. I mean,
it's a problem.
History. I thought there was only one.
I mean, look, Tony Brothers has been a problem. Snorting emoji. Like he's been a problem for a while. He's not the Jokic isn't the only one. Like a lot of people have issues, right? He's not, I would say, like the only thing I can say about Tony Brothers is, well, he's not Scott Foster. Like that's my only thing I can say about Brothers. Some of this stuff I struggle with because I don't know how to differentiate the level between. They've been doing this for so long that they become notorious versus they're notorious because of the calls that they make. I just know that the reputations are out there. The incidents have happened consistently enough. Jokic clearly has problems specifically with
Jokic clearly does not like Tony Brothers.
That's clearly an issue.
And I think Tony Brothers clearly doesn't like Nikola Jokic. Yeah. Here's what I'll say. Jokic has to do better. I don't want to rush to Jokic's defense on this specific thing because I do think it has been a big problem in the past. It wasn't a problem at all last year until Game 4 of the Sun series, and it's been a little bit of a problem so far this year. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I don't want to pretend this isn't a Jokic problem. Like it has been. So to me, and by the way, the scouting report's out on Jokic. I honestly think Spencer Dinwiddie did a very good job of drawing this out of Jokic very intentionally. And just knowing like, hey, this guy's getting upset. Hey, let me just see what happens if I go into him, if I do this, if I grab him on this screen and do this. And sure enough, Jokic bit. And that's the part that worries me a little bit is, hey, scouting reports out on Jokic, man. Get your goon on the court and have him rough him up.
Yeah, and I think, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. It's a combination of because like he was getting this last year, but it's worn on him now. And I do think it's like the combination of everything where it's the bubble, the short off season, 72 games, the minutes, having a kid, then back into the season, playing heavy minutes, everybody's hurt. Like, and I do think that ultimately there is kind of this level of He doesn't get a night off, and by that I mean I don't mean that he doesn't get to rest. I mean he literally doesn't get to like if he has an off night, the Nuggets lose.
Oh, they lose. Yeah, right now. Yep.
And that is a lot of pressure to put on anyone because like I would tell you that Damian Lillard is not in that spot currently. The Portland Trailblazers are worse than the Nuggets, but they
Right.
can win a game if Damian Lillard has a bad game. The
Oh,
Los
I
Angeles,
don't think there's a single player in the NBA carrying their team the way Jokic is. I mean, a lot of this is just because of how banged up Denver is.
yep,
But a lot
yep.
of it is also just how good Jokic is. I mean, he's both simultaneously the best player in the NBA, or at least one of three, and also on a team that is just so banged up and,
Yeah.
and discombobulated.
I mean, that's the thing, though. This is like a lot of it. If Jokic was like frustrated or gassed, but Jamal was around,
Yeah.
specifically Jamal, because I don't think you can do this if MPJ is healthy. I don't think
Right.
it. I just don't think it makes it like we haven't seen it. We haven't seen
Yeah.
MPJ like carry them on his
Right.
own,
Right.
right? But like if Jamal's healthy, it's like okay, look,
Yeah.
let's give him an extra 3 minutes of rest. Jamal's going to cook with the bench unit and just give Jamal the green light. They'll be able to coast enough.
I'll tell
And
you, we're not tweeting about, oh no, can Denver hold on up 18 with 6 minutes to go?
with Jamal Murray,
But
yeah,
Jamal's there. Yeah, we're just
yeah,
like, oh, it's one's still over, whatever.
yeah, it's done.
The one thing I'll say about fatigue, the Jokic being in Denver, like the fans are always like, he doesn't get his respect. Why isn't there more attention on him? Be thankful, man. Like that's one aspect of this he doesn't have to deal with. Is just the like fame. It's a little bit of a blessing for you because you're right. He has so many things on him, just the needing to carry the team night in and night out. But I think it would be worse if he was also like you just nonstop had national media in town constantly just harassing him the way a LeBron does. Like you look at a LeBron locker room presser, there's 50 people around him. You look at a Jokic one, it's still 3 people.
Jokic used to really dislike doing those with us.
Yeah.
And when he kind of had the transformation that he went through in that 2019-20 season,
Yeah.
he started like he always tells us the same thing before he leaves, which is my pleasure as always.
Right.
He doesn't hate doing it anymore. He may be like annoyed with like, what do you guys want? Right. Like, he knows he doesn't understand why we ask the questions that we do, but he doesn't mind them. Every time that he's ever been annoyed, it's not just Jokic. Anytime any Denver player has ever been annoyed with the media, I always get a little bit like my dander gets up. Not because I'm a member of the Denver media, but I want to be like, go to New York and see how this is. Like,
Right.
this is nothing. It
Not,
is fine here.
not only that, like people don't
It
realize
only comes like once every 5 games. It's fine.
Totally. But people don't realize that like LeBron gets asked the same questions in every city and in his day, and Jokic doesn't. Like that's one thing that's a little bit different. It would be if somebody was coming in every single day, there was a new national media member saying, "Do you think you're the MVP?" And he's like, "Oh my God, again." Like he doesn't have to answer those ones because Denver just kind of leaves him alone on that kind of stuff at least. And that's just one less pressure that he has to face than a Steph, than an LeBron, than a KD.
Right.
I don't know what it's like for Giannis in Milwaukee. I'm not sure. He's more famous than Jokic, but I don't know if that has reached him yet or not to that level. But certainly a LeBron, where it's like he's answering the exact same questions over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. Giannis loves his beat writers, by the way. Something I respect about him. He's got a good relationship with those guys. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll wrap up our thoughts on this pretty weird game, but a good win for the Denver Nuggets. We'll do that when we come back on Locked On Nuggets. But first, you listen to podcasts for the power of knowledge. You switch to Boost Mobile for the power of saving money. Get 3 unlimited data lines for $30 a month per line and a free 5G phone when you switch. Go so you can get the latest episodes, all on one of America's largest 5G networks. More power to save with Boost Mobile. Free phone limited new customers and 1 per line. Additional restrictions apply. Offers and coverage not available everywhere or for all phones and networks. See boostmobile.com for details. We'll be right back on Locked On NBA Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Matt Moore, who's not feeling good because I got the booster shot today outside of Ball Arena. By the way, shouts out to that. If you're trying to find a booster, I've had a hard time getting a booster shot. It has been like very stressful for me. I have a work trip this weekend and was like, oh God, I don't want to do like an airport if I don't have the booster right now. I was able to go to Ball Arena. I got an appointment on Sunday or on Saturday for Monday. Like
Yeah.
they've appointments every day. There's a bus outside. The staff is totally professional. It's clean. It's great. Check it out. If you need an appointment, go outside Ball Arena. They have walk-ups available too. If you're looking for a booster or you want to get your kids vaxxed, or if you haven't gotten vaxxed, head down there.
Yeah. By the way, Matt, and I know some people I've heard, mix some people having the side effects, and some people are worried about getting the booster because of it. I haven't. I got two Pfizer gang shots, and I got my booster as well. Never felt a side effect at all. So you're not doomed to filling one if that's what's holding you back.
Yeah, a lot of people that I've talked to, just like they're like, oh no, I didn't have any side effects. I can tell I'm going to, and so all of you can go to hell. I just want to make that very, very clear. Okay, so we talked about the bench, we've talked about Jokic, we've talked about all of these types of things. The one thing I will ask you, just like, okay, I do want to get into this with you. It's early, and I know you're not super fond of these conversations, but I want to kind of talk about it. When we're trying to assess where Jokic stands right now, it is unequivocally true that the Warriors have beaten their opponents by more points per possession, per game, whatever, when Steph Curry's on the floor than with Jokic. The same is actually true for
It's
Giannis.
actually pretty close, though. I think it's like 2 points, 2 points per 100 possessions.
That's a gap, though. Yeah. I think before tonight, Giannis was ahead. I don't remember.
Yeah, I thought Jokic was third in whatever that was. Yeah.
And so here's kind of my question is like, last year, I want to be very, very kind of clear on this. Like last year, you could make the argument, well, Steph is the MVP because look what he has to work with. Right. So this is kind of the trap. I had to, like, when I did a bunch of MVP stuff, I did it every year. I had to, like, come to the conclusion of I don't want to reward guys for having bad teammates because it means I punish guys for having good ones, and that's weird. So I know that it's really super early. This Jokic situation is causing me to stress some of these priors that I have because I look at this and I like tonight is a really good example of this. Like Aaron Gordon played really well. Aaron Gordon has been a really good player. Really, he has some down games when he's tired, but he's had a really good season in Denver.
Right.
The Nuggets were without 3 starters who they have paid a significant amount of money to, and 2 key rotation players and a third guard.
Yeah.
And I mean, they housed the Wizards.
Yeah.
Like how much? And literally, it's just because of like the minutes when Jokic is on the court.
Yeah. So I mean, there's no question about it.
Right. And so
anybody that watches any amount of Nuggets games realizes it's like, wow, this team is 2 teams: Jokic on, Jokic not on, and it's.
So this is genuinely where I've gotten to. Nikola Jokic is the most important player to his team in the NBA, without question.
Yeah, he's the most valuable for sure. Here's the thing: the MVP award is not. It's like got its own thing. I know it's called the most valuable. They should do like hockey. This should be called the Bill Russell Award or something, where it's not the MVP, but we all just know it for that.
Right.
I do think that Jokic is the most valuable to his team. If I had a vote today, I'm not sure. Right, if the season ended right now, I'm not sure. I don't think I would give it to Jokic, and the reason is that I do think that there is this unofficial like sort of thing that we factor in that I think we should, which is team success. And you
got to win.
You got to win. And I think you could say, well, how is Denver supposed to win more than they did? They've been on the road, all this different stuff. And I'd be like, yeah, I agree with that. But here's the problem. If we start doing it, I think with right now, I agree Jokic is super valuable. But there's going to be a season when some Russell Westbrook type player puts up a triple-double and it does similar things, and we're going to say, yeah, but it's different. And you're going to say, why is it different now? It's different in this circumstance. And you're going to be like, well, it's just different because I watch and because of my eye test or this or that. So for me, I do like the idea that it has to go to a team that has had more success than what the Nuggets have had right now. But here's the thing, Matt. I don't know if this team they have a run in them. It might take till January. They've been on the road. Most games on the road or whatever. Denver might be a top 4 seed out west by the time it's all done. Might be a top 6 seed in the NBA by the time this is all done.
You asked me if they have momentum. This to me is the kind of win where I look at it and go, there's still so much runway out in front of them. If they can we talked about it last night, if they get through the stretch where they have all these road games before Christmas and they come out on the other side, they're going to be primed for fewer back-to-backs, more rest, fewer games, like in terms of density,
Right.
home games,
Right.
easier opponents, and you're going to have all this runway for you to take off. They just got to get there.
Yep.
Like, that's it. They just got to, and look, I hate saying this because for me, it's like, I said this on the Nuggets on the fan post-game show tonight. It's like, I could say all this, but if they suffer one more, that's probably tipping point.
Yeah.
You know?
Might be. I mean, it depends on who, obviously. But
Right.
can I tell you one thing, though? They kind of are already losing a guy in Davon Reed, who I really like. Davon Reed is a top 10 available player to the Nuggets right now. And by the way, I kind of like him with Jokic. And I
Yeah.
like him with Jokic because he doesn't do anything. Like he knows he can make the extra pass, which is important. He can cut, he can finish, he can shoot a little bit. But more than anything, he just knows, like, hey, every time Jokic touches it, something's good. So if I have it and don't have anything, just get it back to Jokic. And I think that's great. And I worry like Austin Rivers is going to come back. He might replace Davon Reed in the starting lineup. Probably Will Barton's back, but he might be playing more minutes with that. And as much as I like Austin Rivers, I don't know that he has that same skill set. Like he does hold the ball. He does like his jab steps and this or that. And that just disrupts the rhythm a little bit. So I'll miss Davon Reed.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's back. I think he made a good impression. They had actually like a pregame montage, like an interview with him.
I love that.
With Katie. So I think there's a pretty decent chance that they can make some room for him and get him in there. It sounds
let me say this. Our mutual friend, is it Chris Reichard? I know he no longer does this, but used to cover the G League.
Yeah.
I remember he always talked about the reason he likes the G League so much is because it's all good stories. It's guys that are just like grinding. And Davon Reed is that. Like Davon made a lot of money these last 10 days. And I'm glad he did. Like he made a year's salary in the last 10 days. And I hope he gets another year's salary because those are the guys that are really doing this on love and passion and belief.
On that pregame interview with Katie Wingy, friend of the show, he talked about kind of how he came to be with the Nuggets. And one of the things that he said, he's like, well, I had a bunch of options, but honestly, the difference was Michael Malone.
Man.
He said that he was with them in Summer League, and Malone wasn't coaching the team, but he was around them every day. And he kept in touch with him, and he kept texting him and telling him how much he liked him and how much he respected his game. Yeah. And like Malone like invested in him, and like he believed in him. And so like
I think Denver's going to miss him. I know that sounds like a crazy hot take. I think Denver might miss Davon Reed because of how well, again, sometimes you're just there to accentuate your superstar. And when your superstar is the best player in the world, that's really all you need to do. He does that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of it is, I mean, Davon didn't shoot well tonight, but there is a sense of he doesn't record scratch where he doesn't not shoot when he should, and he doesn't just shoot when he should not. Like those instincts and those kind of things are difficult, I think, to understand. And I think especially like, I mean, I'll say it, like there's times when I'm like, I don't like that shot, or I think that's a bad shot or whatever, but I don't know. I think like the players
disrupt the rhythm all the time. Like in an average basketball game, like 100 possessions, there's probably 20 of them where you're like, somebody screwed this possession up.
Yep.
And tonight, the only ones I can think of, you mentioned Facu had like a couple weird, like in that third quarter, there were a few, but the first, 30 minutes of this game, 32 minutes of this game or so, there was like zero disruptions to the offense.
I will tell you in closing, I was very concerned early on in this game that it was going to be a monster Vlatko Chanchar game, and I was never going to hear the end of it. So I'm glad that Vlatko only played 8:39, went 2 of 3 from the field for 5 points. Good minutes though from Vlatko Chanchar.
We might get to see extended minutes there, by the way. J Mike, it sounds like, might be out for a while, according to the pregame commentary. So
great.
Yeah, I know.
More good news for the Nuggets.
The Nuggets get back Austin Rivers and Will Barton, but might lose J Mike for a while. And who knows? Aaron Gordon with a sore back and then plays 40 minutes. Maybe he's a scratch for Wednesday. You never know.
Never know. All right. Let's go wrap it up for Locked On Nuggets. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to check out the YouTube page. You can follow Adam on Twitter at Adam_Mares and check out his work at thednvr.com. My name is Matt Moore. You can follow me on Twitter at HBBasketball. I'm going to bed. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow night with another episode of Locked On.